Get ready for the Squawking Eagles Podcast, the show that covers only the Philadelphia Eagles. Think different. Think Squawking Eagles Podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to the Squawking Eagles Podcast. I am Mike, and I'm joined by Miguel and Mark, coming off a great Eagles win. How's it going, guys?
Fly, Eagles, fly. We beat Dallas.
In the words of Bill Goldberg, who's next? Let's go.
Well, bye week is next, and then after that, we got a Kansas City Chiefs game. Before we can talk about all those things, and before we get started with the podcast, if you want to subscribe to us on Instagram and YouTube, it's Squawking Eagles Podcast. And if you are following us on Twitter or the X, if you want to call it, we're over there. And we're also on the TikTok too, but we'll see. We have some viewage over there.
Yeah, who's up charge of that? Damn, talk to that person.
So today we're on the podcast. We're going to review the first half of the season, and we are going to talk about the Cowboys game, of course, and then I've got a new segment. We're going to call it Crumb Bum Commenters of Instagram. On a recent post, I posted something on Instagram, a reel, and it has a lot of views and a lot of comments. So there's a few of them I want to talk about. So let's see, Miguel. Let me hear how you reacted towards the end of that game. We all heard on the post game in-game reactions, but I'd like to hear from you fresh off a couple days after, and let me hear.
After a mini heart attack and a lot of butt clutching. And we tried to give that game away. We tried to give that game to Dallas in the last 47 seconds of that game. Mm-hmm. We were literally serving them on the silver platter. Here, take the game.
Yep.
And they kind of choked it away. A lot of bad mistakes towards the end of that game. I mean, that game, it's been documented over this podcast. The last 9 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever we're at right now, we're not playing consistent enough on offense. We're not doing good when we get into the red zone. Jalen scared us with that moment that he couldn't get up off the ground because of his knee. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Like everything that you could dream in a nightmare scenario was probably going wrong in that game. And we tried everything we could do to give them that game. And luckily they say football is a game of inches. And literally, like, there was 2 plays at the end of that game where it was literally inches.
It was. The 2 plays you're talking about is the Dak Prescott stepping out of bounds on the 2-point conversion, and the pass to their tight end on the goal line.
That was called a touchdown and got called back.
Right. Those are inches.
It's very obvious that it was not a touchdown once you saw the replay.
Right.
People, throw a hissy fit about it, but it's like, man, the guy's knee is down, the ball's not across the line. That's the definition of it.
A lot of people's complaints, though, is that Blankenship was already tackling him before the ball got there.
In slow-mo, the contact's there, but it is in every single play. And that whole game, on both sides, the refs were letting the cornerbacks play.
Yeah.
Corners and safeties were draped over every receiver. I mean, look, Brown got like nothing. A.J. Brown's had a phenomenal season. He had a struggled game. I mean, he was just blanketed the whole game. It happens. And if it plays one way, it plays the other way. So you can't complain if you're going to have it happen the other way around. So,
I agree.
That's how it goes.
Both teams played solid 1 through, all 4 quarters. Every team, they were both playing a solid game. And it's just that the Cowboys had a few, like Dak Prescott, 2 big-time sacks in the 4th quarter. BG and was it Hassan Reddick? 2 sacks back to back. That was it. That took off a lot of time on the clock, and those were the mistakes. I thought we were going to see a couple of interceptions by Dak. They weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
They were too quick.
That's one thing that you walk away saying the Dallas Cowboys did not lose that game because of Dak Prescott. Yes, he stepped out of bounds at the end there. That's fine. Mm-hmm. That's the one mistake, but he played mistake-free football, played
Mhm.
clean, and
Pardon me one second.
and with
Yeah.
that, it made it a close game. I know, to your chagrin, they gave the ball to Kenny Gainwell in the beginning. I really thought you were going to turn off the TV, but you kept watching the game.
Can
You
you
kept watching the
believe?
game.
Can you believe the first touchdown they scored? It's Kenny Gainwell. Like, I could not believe that.
Nah, you had to expect that. You guys been trashing him these last 2 weeks. You had to know Sirianni was going to come at the critics with a play for him.
He did. He
So-
did. He did. And a lot of talk on the internet was that the refs were paid off by the Eagles. It was the refs won the game for the Eagles. I'm sorry, but the refs didn't sack Dak Prescott 2 times in a row in the fourth quarter. The refs didn't push Dak Prescott out in the 2-point conversions.
Mhm.
The refs didn't make Gallup and CeeDee Lamb drop those passes in a
Turpin.
meaningful.
Don't forget the pass against Turpin that Turpin dropped that could have changed the game.
Right. No, the refs didn't make them drop those passes and those
Right.
catches. It was the players. That game was well played game on both sides, and there was a few mistakes on the Dallas, and that's why the Eagles won. Hey, Eagles tried to give it to them. They started on the 6-yard line and they drove all the way down in like 20 seconds because of penalties. That's like, and they both of them had 10 penalties each.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like
It was not
one
a good
was
game for either team, to be honest.
it wasn't lopsided in penalties. It was just that the better team won. The Eagles won. They're a better
Yeah.
team.
And we did what Mark likes to do. We ran the ball 33 times to the 22 times passing. So,
You know what,
Go ahead,
though?
Mark,
What
take credit
happens?
for it.
You run the ball. That's what happens, guys. That's what happens,
Now,
Uh,
yes, the Eagles did win, but they also lost a few things. They lost Dallas Goedert for a few weeks with a broken forearm.
Yeah.
They've lost Nakobe Dean for possibly for the whole year.
Yeah.
Bradbury got banged up. Slay got banged up. We saw Jalen Hurts take a helmet to the knee, and he was down. Like that was a straight hit to the knee, and he was down.
I honestly was concerned we were going to see someone else come in at quarterback at the next drive.
I bet you were excited for that.
It was not excitement. I've never had excitement for a player getting hurt.
No, I'm not saying
It was
not
exciting to
getting
see
hurt.
Penny actually get some plays.
Yeah.
I think we
I was shocked,
knew
too.
we were going to see him come in. He has to show up. Be like, come on, like what are they paying him for?
I
True.
mean, that's what happens. Overall,
What
though,
about-
I mean, like neither team played great. And this is something I've had arguments with people like all season. A lot of people have been like complaining about the Eagles and how bad we are and how bad we are. And I said, like, I would rather have had the games we have had where we're having these struggles and we're looking at it like to us as fans, it's glaringly obvious that we have a crayon munching offensive coordinator. We got a D coordinator who some weeks knows what he's doing and some weeks doesn't. Maybe he's like borrowing Brian Johnson's playbook by accident. I don't know. But like, I would hate to have a team like the Dolphins earlier in the year where they were just flying so high, they were the top of the world, and then all of a sudden they got absolutely smacked. And you go, wait, what's wrong with this team? And then they played us and lost again, and they played KC. And every time they played a team that's of any good stature, they're getting beat, and no one seems to know what's wrong with them. At least for us, it's like, look, we know we've got a run game. We know we've got, great receivers, got a really good quarterback. We have the team to do it. It's just not molding at the moment.
Yeah.
But it is succeeding because the team itself, and I've been trying to tell people that it's like, we do have, everyone say that we don't have the team for the Super Bowl. No, we have the team for the Super Bowl. We have a team that is made of a collective group of people who are good enough to do that. We're just not putting it down the way, like we were so used to last year where our team just was so well oiled and they're doing things so well. Whereas now it's like, no one seems to mesh well. We don't seem to be getting the signs in right. How many times we've seen Jalen Hurts go to call play and he's sitting there looking at it like, what? He looks back over at the coach like, what are you calling?
Right.
And he's like, Brian Johnson, I don't read color and crayon books, man. Like, stop it. Give me a real play.
Now, like,
gotta take a timeout.
Yeah. Granted, the fact that we talk about Brian Johnson, they actually are like ranked second in points, second in yards, second in first downs.
I'm looking at it.
They're averaging a lot better than we actually are giving him credit for. Which
no, stop it. Stop it. We have the players to do that. It is not him.
It is not
I'm
him.
sorry, Brian Johnson, your playbook still sucks. You're telling me that a team that is just slightly different and, in my opinion, improved from last year is playing this much worse by just chance? No, it's because we went from a playbook, and a lot of people don't like Steichen. But the playbook worked. He knew what he had, and he called it.
Yeah. I also like, look, Lane Johnson gave up his first sack of the year that last game. Jordan Mailata's that when Jalen Hurts took the helmet to the knee, that was from Jordan Mailata. He missed the blocking assignment, and I just was listening to him online today. He is apologizing. He was really taking credit, not credit, but he was taking responsibility for that hit on Jalen. And everybody knows that Jalen's knee is rough. It's beat up, and even Jalen said that the bye week couldn't come at a better time.
I think that's true for our whole team, though. I mean, like you said, Slay and Bradbury got a little beat up, and let's be honest, like they're not spring chickens. They're good. They're phenomenal corners in the league, but they are towards the later half of their prime. I mean, this is not the top we've ever seen Slay or Bradbury. Last year was a surprising resurgence for those two.
Yeah,
but give them some time. You give Brandon Graham and Fletcher Cox. So you give some of our veterans some time to just heal up the bumps and bruises, and then you give our young guys who have been going hard. I don't know if you guys watched. I watched like 7 or 8 plays on Sunday where Jalen Carter was triple teamed instantly. Center, guard, running back bolted up there to help, and he still was throwing. He didn't quite get the sack, but he was throwing guys. Look, I understand he's strong. I understand he's got that motor. You're tired after that, though. That is a lot of effort. You're fighting 3 grown men, for 60-some plays a game. You're exhausted. I'm glad. I think we have a great time for a bye week.
And by Jalen Carter getting triple teamed and Jordan Davis getting triple teamed, Josh Sweat 50 quarterback pressures so far in 9 weeks, and that's guess who he's tied with. Micah Parsons.
I remember. I feel like sometime in our history said something about Josh Sweat's going to have a hell of a year.
Yes.
I don't remember who that was. But I remember someone saying that.
Somebody said that. I'll have to go back in the archives and dig that up. So
speaking of Micah Parsons, real quick. I'm sorry. I'm gonna call him the Silver Surfer, real quick.
Oh my God! What a great video!
What the hell were you doing on that play, my guy? Like
you were going for a ride.
He surfed. He said my 3 to 4 yards, man. He just took a ride on the information superhighway. He just
on the push.
On that brotherly shove, and he just enjoyed. I uploaded a reel to Instagram, and it has over 500,000 views. And the amount of comments that people have, it's an illegal play. The offense and defense are both offsides. It shouldn't be allowed. It's not a football. I'm like, this has been happening. This play is being used forever. Tom Brady used it for years.
Tom Brady was the original design. They started letting this play happen because he was doing QB sneaks, and he's the one that started having the players push him, and they voted on it back then. They said, you know what? No, you can't pull them. That's the rule. You cannot pull them, but you can push them. That's been that way for decades.
And defensive players can't pull anybody. So you can't pull anybody. I think forwards. I think it was backwards. So it's still it's still a legal play. They asked Jordan Mailata,
happened to Kevin Byard, which is why he got that one penalty. He got yanked off the pile, and he threw his and he reacted.
Yeah.
Look, I get it. You're not supposed to react, and Byard, as a veteran, I expect better. But at the same time, you watch that replay, I don't blame him. He's sitting there, he's like literally holding back the play. They don't get a first down if they actually go with where Byard's spot, like where he stopped.
Oh, yeah, he didn't make
yanks him up, lunge forward, it's a first. What?
Yeah, he didn't make it. They asked Jordan Mailata how he feels about that, the brotherly shove they calling it a rugby play. And he said that's what he said. It was it's like
close.
It's not even close to being rugby play, and he feels offended that you actually even think that that's a rugby play as a former rugby player. It's not a rugby play. It's
because
a
rugby
football
play
move.
is like for anyone who has watched rugby, they know it's very obvious it's not, because rugby is not moved like that at all. The point is the whole pile moves forward, pushes the ball back, and the guy gets out and then goes around. Like some of the plays where you see, like Rutgers play against Ohio State was more of a rugby play than anything we've done so far, which I mean, granted, it's still a legal play. And I've been trying, I don't understand. It's like, if you can do it, do it. If not, sucks to suck. You know, I heard a lot of different, I heard like Dallas radio complaining about it. I heard a lot of people complaining about it.
A lot of complaints.
Look, it's a QB sneak, guys. It's been in the league since day one, pretty much. You know, the difference is that we've got some players behind him pushing him, and you know what? Not even on all the plays is someone there pushing him. Most of the time, they're side by side with him, pushing forward. You know, it's one of those things, and we've seen it. Teams have stopped it against us occasionally, but against most of the teams in the league, we have seen it stopped. I mean, if you were to say, hey, you know what, guys, Pat Mahomes is throwing, 80% completion percentage, maybe we shouldn't allow him to throw the football. Like, we're 10% more successful than that, and it's suddenly a problem?
Yeah, it's not right. Yeah. It's not right. It's a great move. And I took a poll online, Instagram, and the poll was, is the tush push banned next year? And it was a resounding no. It's not going to be banned. Everybody believes it'll stay around.
Shouldn't be.
It shouldn't.
There's no reason for it to be.
No.
You know, it's I mean, you think about it. You've got one of the best, and it's people talking about it being offsides. Look, Jason Kelsey is not even as an Eagles fan. As a general knowledge person, Jason Kelsey's respected as one of the best centers in the league. Like the world knows that. The NFL
apparently on the list of the sexiest man alive this year.
Top 5 sexiest man alive.
What is
I like that too. I still think he should have won. McDreamy, sorry, bud, you're old and out of it now.
It's like, your time passed. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, like a decade ago.
Right.
Anyway, but I will say, if you look at him, and he said it himself, if you look every time they line up for that play, for any play, like as a center, and most centers in the league, in any league, they get down, they get the ball, they usually look side to side to address their O-line. I mean, you look at Kelsey on almost every play, he's calling out potential, blitzes, calling out changes in their assignments.
Right.
He clearly sees it. He said, like, the one time they were called for offsides, it was his own hand. It's not Dickerson.
Yeah.
You would think that we would be lining up offsides on this. Like, we've been running it so often. Like, our guys know how to line up on this. Yes, I'm not going to let defenses line up offsides all the time. It is unreal how offsides they are. They're not even just against us, across the board. I watch college every Saturday, and there's times where they line up, and I'm like, is the ref closing his eyes for the start of this play? Because you can't see the football. There's a head between you and the football, my guy. But
they are starting to call defensive offsides, like lined up in the neutral zone. Like, they are calling it. They called it, I think, twice last game. I can't remember. But hey, the Eagles won. We saw the tush push 4 times. That's almost like the average. About 4 times a game we see the tush push brotherly shove.
Well, usually we see it going into the end zone, not coming out of the end zone.
That would have worked really well coming out of the end zone.
They got 3 yards. They got 3 yards coming out of the end zone. And then sadly they had to punt the ball anyway. So it was,
but they had to punt it from a lot better position.
It's true.
The offense did a good enough job. Like, for being there, I'll take it. I don't like having to see our punter out at all. But I mean, if we have to, and we're in a position like that, they did pretty well.
Yeah. And how can we forget the greatest photo of the season so far? Dak Prescott on his head.
That man was doing a breakdance.
He got tombstone by the Undertaker. That's what he did.
I think what happened was Slay went low and Zach Cunningham came high, and that was it. That was it for him.
I will say, and I'm saying this out of the bottom of my heart, I need to give credit to Dak for that play, because he gets up, goes right back to what he's doing. Yeah. Guarantee that's Mahomes. A, there's a flag. B, he is throwing a bitch fit. The whole team is throwing a fit if that's Mahomes. For playing, and even though the play was legal, Dak didn't slide. He went into contact, got flipped.
He dove.
Yeah. No, you got to give him credit. Like, the game was on the line right there. Yeah, the game was on the line. He was putting it on his back.
And you know what? As much I talk shit on Dak, that is I have to give him credit for that because he went hard and he dealt with it. He didn't get up and start throwing a hissy fit. He got up and said, you know what? That's the play.
You mean he didn't pull a Caleb Williams and cry on his mommy's chest? I feel sorry for whoever's drafting him next year.
Giants look like the Giants
next year, man. I don't know if he's getting drafted next year. You know, it's funny because he's talked about like not coming out of the draft, and now Shadur Sanders is not going to come out in the draft. I'm like, all right, so you guys are going to stay back a year. You're both having really down years suddenly.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you're going to have guys like Quinn Ewers out of Texas, who already has quite a bit of hype. He's going to be coming out that following year. So he's going to be like, you got players who are like, they're building. Like Quinn's got to get there. He only can play one more year because they're going to want to play the Manning kid. Everyone knows.
Sorry, Mike. I hit the college button and he just doesn't turn off. Yeah.
Hey, I look forward to draft time. I want to see the future players. Because let's look at this past week. Look at all the backup QBs that had to play.
Yeah.
There's a lot of teams that are suddenly like, I was sitting there going for a while, like, who's going to really draft quarterback? Suddenly it's like quite a few probably.
Yeah.
I don't think Kirk gets another contract. His contract ends. They're not going to extend him.
Well, they're willing to keep him if he's willing to stay for probably a lower amount of money, I'm sure.
But they said that prior to tearing his ACL.
That's true.
He tears ACL. He's what, 32, 33?
Yep.
Maybe older.
He come back as a backup. They got Josh Jobs now. He did.
You're making $100 million. Are you coming back as a backup?
No.
Yes.
No. Hey, have you? I don't know if you've seen.
I'm Sam Bradfording the shit out of every contract I'm doing.
True. Oh, God, that was crazy.
Look at Aaron Rodgers is out on the sidelines passing and throwing and catching. Like it's remarkable what he's doing. He's going to come back probably earlier. Like they said week 14 or 15, I heard.
No way.
Yeah,
like I know they're saying, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, there's no way.
I know there's no way.
But you tear an Achilles or an ACL next season. That's the instant. Like it's week 1, we'll see you next season.
Yeah, he's saying week 14 or 15 now.
The same season. I don't understand.
I know.
Hold on,
what super drugs did he find?
Real quick question, because you're bringing up that Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers shit. Cam Akers just tore his Achilles again. Is it the same Achilles that he just got repaired, or is it the other foot?
No, I don't even know.
Oh, I think I heard that it's the same one, and that he can't tear anymore because it's I think he said it is the same one, and his career might be done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like Aaron Rodgers was big on saying, look at what Cam Akers did. He was able to come back in 6 to 8 months, and now he's trying to, fit in that window. And look, he blasted 9 games, not even.
Yeah, he's that's bad. It was bad.
Achilles.
Same one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow,
bro, that's terrible.
Mm-hmm. So I got a few little side note, and I know it's not too much of like a big conversation piece, but I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Let's talk about it.
Carson Wentz is back in the NFL.
Jesus gosh.
He is signed with the Los Angeles Rams. It's not, I know it's not a big story, but it's a little story, and I like to hear what your thoughts are. Miguel, since you have the largest reaction, I want to hear what you have to say first.
Well, I'm happy Carson's back in the league. Hopefully he's learned something throughout this whole 9-week not being in it. But I think he's going to have one great game, and he's going to revert right back to who Carson Wentz is. He's going to destroy another locker room. I hope not. I hope he does something that gets him a starting role next year or a backup role next year. But something just tells me it's not going to go that way.
He does have Puka and Cooper Kupp to throw to, so maybe it could be a good combination for him. What about
it? Could be.
You're shaking your head, Mark. What do you got to say?
No, I'm sitting there. Actually, I pulled up the picture he posted over the summer.
Oh,
I'm
him
trying
wearing
to figure out,
does
he wear in next year's picture? Did he wear Rams cleats? Is that how he gets all 4?
Somebody NFL memes posted Carson Wentz out here collecting NFL teams like he's Thanos, and they had a blue sleeve on his arm as the Rams logo.
They can't do that. I mean, when you have someone like Fitzpatrick, you can't even start to say anything about Wentz. Like, there's no comparison. The guy had like 14 teams.
He's quite a few.
Goodness gracious.
Yeah, but yeah,
he's back
in the NFL. Does he start next week? They have a bye this week. Does he start?
If Stafford's injured, I think you almost have to after the way
he's
played, right?
He's got thumb surgery or something like that, and the other kid I think is out indefinitely.
Stetson,
he's sick. Yeah.
So we're going to see Carson Wentz week 10.
I mean, granted, like I hope for his sake, I will say I hope for his sake that he has been with like a trainer all season.
Yeah, I'm sure he has.
They're not just signing him off the couch like fucking Shane Falco from.
I say, remember, some of the players this year have been signed straight off the couch. I mean, there's players who literally
Miles Jack. Miles Jack.
Yeah, Miles Jack is like straight off the couch. Like, I mean, look at
and then retired.
Oh, the lineman from the Giants last week. What was his name?
No, what's from the Giants? I don't remember. Oh, yeah, but that was his thing on TV. He's like, straight off the couch.
Right.
And then the Buffalo, they just was it Will Fork or whoever it was that we had last year?
Joseph or Sue.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't been doing anything. He retired again. Well,
that's a big man.
There it is.
That's a big man. Though.
Big man, gotta keep yourself in shape too.
So there you go. So Carson Wentz back in the NFL. I also had another question.
A great team.
I know it's baseball related, but it can also work for what we're going to talk about the Eagles.
Let's do it.
They were talking to Bryce Harper about if he was going to play right field or stay at first base, and so they finally talked to him, and Bryce Harper is going to stay at first base, which means Rhys Hoskins' era in Philadelphia is done.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he was a player that people were, say, we can't, if we let him go, it's not a different team. It's Bryce Harper's team now. And I thought it was Bryce Harper's team as soon as Bryce Harper got here. But Rhys Hoskins has been here for a long time and people are upset. So is there a player on the Eagles who you would really miss because they've brought somebody else in to replace him as like the leader?
Is this person like, give me an equivalent? Like, is this person an all-star player? Is he a legend? Is he a player?
It's like he's a well-established team player. Like he's like the face of the team. Like
I can
Rhys
give you
Hoskins,
like almost in order.
Rhys Hoskins was the face of the Phillies from like 2016 to like last year until he got hurt. Because when they were having problems in the locker room with Odubel Herrera, it wasn't Bryce Harper talking to the media. It was Rhys Hoskins. So it's like this guy is, he was a face. The bat spike, that was a huge, the error of, and so he's gone now, and then that's 40 home runs you losing in your lineup. So is there something on the Eagles? Well, like I immediately thought with me was when I guess what happened is when they bring in somebody to replace Brandon Graham when he's gone as a.
I think they already
player.
did.
Well, not really, because he's still out there. He's not like
he's out there, but like it's not like there's but he's not the starter anymore, and there's not like we're not losing him the right like that, but like it's not like we're gonna sign someone and that's the end, like that's it. No, when Brandon Graham retires, he's gonna retire. We have him. I think we have him and Fletcher Cox both in a spot where it's like I think I say it right now. If we win this year, Graham, Cox, Kelsey all retire.
Instantly. All three?
All three. There's no way they stay any longer. They're at a point now. You get all three of them 2 Super Bowls. They're good. Every one of them is reaching age, and it's going to suck. I'll tell you right now, I would miss Kelsey. I know we already have his replacement too. Don't get me wrong. I love Brandon Graham. I love Fletcher Cox, but I think Kelsey is more of an embodiment of this team. Mm-hmm. He is that face. I think like anyone who sees Kelsey, it's an Eagle. That's the Eagles, And I know Fletcher Cox and Graham been here, the whole time too. I don't want to see them go either. But I do think that like because the way that our defensive line runs, you're seeing them already rotate out on a much more common basis. Neither one of them is really getting the start anymore. They're in as more rotational players. If we don't win this year, maybe they're here again next year, kind of thing. Whereas like Kelsey is like he's the anchor of our entire offense. Like Hurts said when he got here, he had to relearn how to take a snap. Mariota even said in one of his interviews, like, he has to take snaps differently because of the way Kelsey hikes the ball.
Yeah.
But everyone respects and knows Kelsey. Kelsey makes the call-outs. He's one of the best centers of all time. Yeah, I think Juergens is going to be a very good guy when it comes to his time, but that's going to be a huge loss because we're not going to slowly rotate Juergens in every 4 or 5 plays. It's going to be a switch, and that's going to suck.
Yeah, that's a good point. Okay, yeah. So yours, Jason Kelsey. I like that. What about you, Miguel?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to even think about anybody else. I mean, if you take Jalen out of the picture, out of the equation, because obviously quarterback is the hardest position to play in all sports, right? You're the leader. You take all the blame, take all the credit. But yeah, I can't really, other than because what Jason has become in these last couple years has been the face of the franchise. As much as we love Jalen, as much as we love AJ and Devontae, really I think that Jason Kelsey is the mouthpiece of this team. He's the heart and soul of it. I would agree with Mark. Hate to lose Jason.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I would agree with Jason Kelsey too. I do miss Brandon Graham's his trash talking that he has on the sidelines and all that.
He's just a great personality.
He brings a personality, a swagger to the defense, and when you lose that, that's a big thing to fill. Like, not everybody can fill that spot.
I will say, while he doesn't bring the explicit personality of being open and trash talk, I do think the energy. I think Reddick brings that energy that Graham has always carried. Not that Reddick has a huge career left for us either, but
they say Nolan Smith and Brandon Graham are kind of one and the same as well. So we'll get to get to know Nolan.
Seeing Smith play a little bit more.
And he's going to have to start playing a little bit more now because
I'm so excited.
But wait, hold on, I forgot. How did we leave out Jason Kelsey screaming in that guy's face? Just taking him by the jersey.
That was all. That's good over
podcast, and he's saying he wasn't screaming; he was laughing in his face, just really loud. He said he blacked out. He didn't know. He didn't know he was doing it.
Now that day, that was his birthday. That was his birthday. And then when they got into the locker room, he had a drug test letter. He had to get drug tested.
No, I saw that.
I saw that too.
They're drug testing our center. Like, what is that?
Right. What about
when you're that sexy as a center? I drug test you too.
What about the WIP caller that Sirianni played for the locker room before the game?
Right, that was so good.
That was awesome.
Hold on, pull someone over.
It's good stuff. It's good stuff, man. Like, for all sake, argument's sake, I know when we first signed Sirianni as the coach,
we laughed at him.
I was like, this guy's a joke. This guy's a complete joke.
Yeah.
He's out of his league.
I'm guilty. I said this guy's a clown.
I'm like, he's going to be here for maybe a year or two, and that's it. And the guy's got staying power. I think he's like,
fucking won me over. He won me over.
We'll say, I didn't laugh at him. I wasn't on him the way I was on. I will say I wasn't on him the way I was on Hurts. But I was say, I remember talking to people saying, "Who the hell is this guy?"
Yeah,
I don't like. Where is his background? What I literally said, "Let's wait and see." But like, I don't like. A lot of times you kind of know, or you start hearing names prior to the, and every once in a while they do that. They like sign someone like this. Like, look, I'm gonna say it. I know Miguel's gonna throw a hissy fit about it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. When we moved on from Reed and we went to Chip, at the time, Chip had just had a 4-year run in college as being one of the best coaches in college with an amazing record. But like, you knew the name. Even I don't care how you care about the Pan, but I mean, like, you knew the name. All right. Then he left, and we
the investigation. Go ahead.
Then he left, and we go ahead and we get Peterson, who we already knew. He'd already been on our sideline. We knew him under Reed. Like, again, we knew this guy. But when Sirianni came in, I was like, I didn't even know if I heard his name. I got to look this up. Who is he? Where did he come from?
Yeah, I didn't even know how to pronounce his name right away.
But let's not get it wrong. When we got Dougie, people questioned Dougie too. People weren't too high on him either.
Yeah, so, I said,
but I think they gave him a little better credit because they were kind of like, at least he has some kind of background in it.
Well, he was a quarterback. He was in the league. He was under Andy. So
He was here with
Well,
the
he
Eagles.
was Andy's guy.
Right.
He played for the Eagles. He was Andy's guy, and it was a better pill to swallow because of his
Oh,
connection.
yeah.
It was a better.
But I
pill to
will
swallow.
say, Sirianni brings an energy level that I'm like, I could walk through South Street and see 3 guys with the same attitude as Sirianni. I mean, that guy's he's Philadelphia. I don't know where in the world he came from, but he's Philadelphia.
But he is from this area. I think he is from like South or North Jersey. I can't remember, but he is from the area. He has that
South Jersey.
South Jersey.
It's got to be South Jersey. He lives too much like us.
Yeah. So he has grown up here. He's part of it. So it's like, Sirianni's great. I think he's great. I think he's one of the greatest coaches the Eagles have had for quite a while.
I agree.
Which I would have never thought I'd say
He's from
that.
Jamestown,
ever.
New York.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think went to school around here or something like that. Something like that.
I don't know.
All right, so Eagles. They're going into their bye week. This is week 10 of the NFL season. I want to get everybody's grade for the Eagles' first half of the season, going 8-1 with a loss to the New York Jets of all teams. We can break it down where we can give a grade for the offense, grade for the defense, and then an overall grade. I can go first.
Good.
We'll give you guys to think about it for a little bit because I've been thinking about it during the day.
I've been thinking about it. I got notepads.
I'll start with defense. The defense, Sean Desai. It seems to me it's always different each week. One week he has a great game plan, and another week it's like, why didn't he just follow the same game plan he did the week before? I think he's learning on the job, which it's understandable. He could be just doing that. I'm not happy with the amount of blitzing he's doing. He's not doing enough blitzing for me, which I think it's because as Slay and Bradbury can't stay with these receivers as much as they thought they were going to be. So I would give the defense a C for how they've played so far. Yes, they have one loss, but I think it's a C. For offense, if you go by the numbers, we were talking about Brian Johnson, they're second in here, second in this, second in that, and so, but I would give it a B plus for offense because 6 weeks of AJ Brown having 125 yards of receiving. He already has 1,000 yards receiving in 9 weeks. I can't wait to see how many more yards he gets. He's gotta hit over 2,000 if anything. It's got to be. I'd love to see that him hit over 2,000 yards. That'd be awesome.
Him and Hill both in 1 year, maybe.
That'd be awesome. So yeah, I would give the offense a B, and then for the team as a total, I would give it a B, because they haven't been able to put all those pieces together and actually look like a team that's from last year's Super Bowl team. I kind of feel like on paper they're a better team, but I just feel like right now they're not as polished as they were last year. But hey, I think they're still the best team in the NFL. They're 8-1. They should be the best team in the NFL. ESPN doesn't think so, but I think so.
Yeah, let's not get started on that.
So go ahead, Miguel.
Because we have not, I'm not really, I can't give them, too high of grades, but the way I see it, we haven't had the standout game of the year yet. You know what I mean? Where we're like, wow, they looked great overall in every phase of the game, offense, defense, special teams. They really blew out this team with, high-powered defense or whatever. We haven't had that game. What we have had is games where we figured out how to win at the end. So with that being said, with the struggles that we've seen in the red zone, at times with the running game, at times with Jalen himself, I have to give the offense. I want to give it a C, a regular C, just an average C. You haven't really done anything. You've done enough to win the games, but you haven't done enough to show what this offense can really do. As far as defense, they've kept us in the games more than I would like to have for them to do. Our secondary is not playing to the standard that we needed to. Our front four isn't getting the pressure that the coaching staff needs them to get. So I also have to give them I have to give them a B minus. I'm gonna give them a little bit more leeway because they've kept us in a lot of games that we probably should have lost. Minus that Jets game.
Minus the Jets game, right? Yeah.
And special teams, if we're going to do special teams, I'm going to say I'm going to give them a D. They haven't gotten us any turnovers, but they really haven't put us in great field positions that often.
No.
And overall as a team, I guess average that out, it's probably a C+.
C+, yeah. C+.
But we're 8-1, and it's hard to say that. It's hard to swallow that pill that we're a C+ team and we have the best record in the NFL. But every year is different, and every season has its different lessons, as Jalen would probably call them. And maybe later on in the season, and come playoff time, all of this struggle will have been, will help us, get past whatever struggle we had last year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're right. You're right. Mark.
I'm going to start off with a little bit of a different take on this. For one, we've got a player in particular who, while we haven't seen, and I think this happens a lot with that position, we might not have seen what we expected to see out of this player. But in the games this player has played, we are 8-0. So when it comes to the Eagles and our defense and Jalen Carter, I think the issue we're having on defense is a mixture of the passing of the torch that we were just talking about earlier about, Cox and Graham are slowly kind of rotating off. You've got these young studs in Jalen Carter, in I can't remember his name right now because my brain is blanking. Other big guy.
Nolan Smith. Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis. Thank you. We have a few other D tackles rotating in there that aren't part of the Georgia Bulldog squad.
Right. Should be.
Nolan Smith slowly coming in a little bit. We got Sweat. He's been there a little bit. We got Reddick. He's here another year. So it is a bit of a change, but you have to think, Sean Desai, he's from outside the organization. He had 1 year as an assistant coach of defense. So I'm going to grade on a curve.
Mm-hmm.
On the fact that he's coming into a system he's unfamiliar with players he's unfamiliar with, trying to make the best of it. We're 8-1.
Yeah.
Defensively, we have held in there on some games. We've made some plays. We've had some crazy shutdowns on teams right in the red zone. We've had some great defensive getting teams 3 and out early. So for the defense as a team of players, I'm giving them a B+, A-. For Sean Desai on the curve, guys, I'm going to grade him on a nice little curve. I'm going to give him a B- because he's learning the system, and I think that our players being underutilized properly, but I think that is a learning curve for him. And I don't want to I'm not going to be as harsh on him as I am on our crayon muncher on the other side. So on the other side of the ball, offensively, again, player-wise, I have all the stats brought up here because I've been looking at it the whole time. As a quarterback, Jalen Hurts is top 5. He's been throwing the ball well. He's I will say he's a little less reliable with keeping the ball in our players' hands. There's been a few more picks this year. Mm-hmm. And I will say the one part that kind of irks me about that is he feels like he's more almost nervous with his throws. He's holding the ball for an extended time. He has way more time in the pocket than a lot of guys.
And I don't think so because he was getting hit. So I'm just saying, my point is, for the amount of time he has in the pocket, we should be making better plays. He should be making better decisions. Some of his plays have been bad decisions, and it's you have too much time to make bad decisions. Last year, you had less time and you made phenomenal decisions. But I will say Hurts is still, like I said, Hurts is still top 5. He's still top 5. Real quick, let me just ask this question and see if you guys maybe agree with me or not.
Nope.
Do you think that Hurts was like early in the season was that knee was bothering him because we don't know exactly when that knee was hurt, right?
No, I think it was Jets game.
So
I
we've
stand by
been
belief.
saying this. Yeah, it could have been, but we've been saying it for a while that he was holding on to the ball. He didn't look like himself in the pocket. Could that have attributed to him not really looking, doing the things that we were accustomed to seeing him doing? You know what I mean? Because now look at him last game.
I am 100%
he played a great
it to
past 2
trying
weeks.
to read
Past
a
2 weeks.
playbook that's made out of crayon.
The past 2 weeks,
I
Jalen
swear.
Hurts has played 2 really great games.
Two,
The past 2 weeks, like he was player of the week the week before.
I know, and I think he's starting to grasp it. And I'm going to say this, and it's no disrespect to Hurts. I honestly believe if you watch the way the games have been played, something is different with this playbook. Whether it be more complex, there's more pieces to it. It's just ridiculous because there's too many times where I'm seeing him try, like he's gathering the play, and you kind of see him like almost lost. Like, and which with a quarterback in the NFL at any level, I understand if you're, a 7th round pick and you're coming in for the first time, you're like, I don't run the playbook as well as I should. Fine. But as a starter, you kind of know your playbooks for the most part. That's something that they kind of always, you memorize. That's something you come through. And I think a lot of players have said in the years past on other teams is how some coordinators are making them way too complicated. You have to simplify because like you watch, there was some, like even on the quarterback's TV show, they're sitting there like having them read off a play, and it's a full-on 2-3 sentence play. Yeah. I'm sorry, I played football. I remember being in those huddles. I remember having you got the receivers' responsibilities, the line responsibilities, the running back responsibilities in roughly 6 to 10 words. We got it done just fine. Granted, my team sucked, but had nothing to do with the play call, and that was just a different story. Because in general, though, most teams, I don't think the plays are so insanely long. I feel like it's ridiculous how long they are. And I think this is having an issue with it. Because again, I'm going to look back at these stats. Hurts is top 5. As much as I bitch and moan about running the ball, DeAndre Swift is top 3. Okay. We have a receiver who is technically top 3, but in yards is top 2. Like we have the players of a team that should be truly blowing these other teams out. Like we're putting up, I mean, when your receivers and your running backs are both top and your O-line's one of the best, what is the problem? Right. I think you're looking at the, I know that a lot of people talked about it in the postseason last year. The Eagles lost both coordinators. What's going to happen? It's not the team. I've come to this point where it's like, it's not the players. It's the coordinators.
But to me, isn't it Sirianni's playbook? You know what I mean? Like it's Sirianni's playbook, and Brian Johnson is just responsible for teaching it. That's my understanding of those things.
Well,
like, y'all sit down in the offseason, y'all put a plan together, right?
They build plays. Brian Johnson's definitely making plays, right?
But he's not doing it on his own. Playbook. He's doing it with the.
He's doing it with Sirianni, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, That's why I said last week we were like, why aren't we using some of the plays that we had, maybe like just spread them out differently than Shane Steichen was calling them. Like I don't know why are they passing the ball 3rd and 3 like they did against the Cowboys? Why are they passing the ball? That's a running down, especially when you get the brotherly shove. You get 2 yards. And then you shove. Like, I don't understand.
You're not wrong, but most football teams tend to pass on 3rd down, regardless of the yardage. It is what it is.
Well, my biggest problem is when it's like 1st down, and we decide to call like a screenplay, or we call some ridiculous broken RPO that's clearly not going to work 90% of the time, and suddenly it's 2nd and 12 or 2nd and 15, or even just 2nd and 10 when it's like. One of the hardest things, like in any line of life, if you talk to, whether it be working out, changing a site, like it's the first step that counts. It's that first get off the step movement that gets anything anywhere. First play of every drive. I don't care if they know it's coming. Run the goddamn ball. There's no way that we're losing yardage every single 1st down. If we just run the ball, every once in a while, they're going to win that battle. Fine. But we are losing it way more often through the passing game. And 2nd and 8 is on like these crazy statistically how much easier 2nd and 8 is than 2nd and 10 to get that first down on that drive.
Statistically, yes, sure.
Yeah, but
Like-
a lot of the things I think they do is they set up a look. They give you one look and they do one thing, and then they give you maybe in the third quarter, fourth quarter, give you that same look, but it's a whole different play design. You know what I mean? So I think maybe that has a lot to do with it as well.
And there were some good plays.
maybe.
The touchdown pass to AJ Brown, where they did the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade dunk. That was a great play. I thought that was a nice play they did.
Oh, you mean my screensaver now?
There it is. Yes, that one. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
That was a great play.
It's a great picture. It was a great play. I mean,
for that great play, you also have the one where they run into each other.
I was just gonna say they run into each other and almost lose the ball, and then the game.
Look,
that ball bounces a different way. That game is that's
also. I don't know if anyone sees that hit that AJ Brown lays on DeAndre Swift. Swift looks like his lights are out on contact. His head rolls back, and you're like, it almost like he flickers out.
And AJ barely flinched. AJ barely flinched.
AJ, you haven't realized AJ's
dude.
not a small man, and he went shoulder to chin. If I'm going full speed shoulder to chin on it, you ain't gonna feel good either.
Yeah, he's a strong dude.
Yeah. And not that DeAndre's not, but you take the full weight of a man like that to the chin. You're not chilling. Like
that was a scary part of the game. I thought that was like if that had gone a different way, the Eagles are not winning the game if they lose that ball right there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I think one of my other biggest hiccups with it though is the amount of times I've watched this duo play, or I'm going back to what I was saying about like going like forward on first and throwing like throwing a play and we'll get like a sack or a loss of yards on a screen, and it's like 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13, and then we run it. And suddenly it's 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. And that is what keeps hitting me is like the fact that if I'm looking at the stats, you're looking at DeAndre Swift and he still is averaging like 4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
How do you have a guy like, I just don't understand. If you have like, that's a great way to start every drive. Because then, I mean, it's like I've been saying the whole season, like you run the ball, the teams have to respect the run.
Right. And I think that's what they did. The beginning of the second half, they ran the ball, and they passed.
A little bit.
They ran the ball, and they
which
passed.
It wins games, man. It wins in Little League, or like in Pop Warner, it wins in middle school, it wins in college, it wins in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's a very tried and true method. It's hard to beat because on the few plays, if you try to be a crafty D coordinator and go, you know what, this 3rd and 6, they're gonna, or this 3rd and 3, they're gonna throw it because there's, they want us to bite. Suddenly we run it anyway,
right?
Because it's 3rd and 3, you know.
Yeah.
And I will say one thing on top of that is on the 3rd and 1s, going back to what you were saying earlier about a rundown, those are the plays where I don't want to see the brotherly shove. If it's 3rd and 1, and we know 90% of the time we're going to get that 1 yard, go deep. That's what I want to see you air it out. I want to see you play action with 2 tight ends, make it look like we're just going to run it for that first down.
Right.
And then just, hey, Devontae, how fast are you, bud? Just like those are the plays you go big for.
And eventually, I think we're going to see that with the brotherly shove. We already seen the brotherly sweep. I mean,
they're right. That's what's going to happen.
I think would have been really smart this year. And I know I'm saying this off the top of my head. It's not a plot of mine. I think we should have started running the brotherly shove more often. I think we should have had a second quarterback in the play, not the one carrying it, but just in the play in general. So that one time we do have that, no one's the wiser. And it's just like, whether or not you like Mariota, he's going to throw the ball better than if you try to have Swift throw the ball. Like, if Hurts goes to fake the brotherly shove, throws it backwards. And
Mariota could run too, so.
He can. He's quick. He's quick.
He doesn't squat pounds,
right. He's quick.
That would be nice. The evolution of it would be interesting to see, to have them out there. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about a few things. There's Instagram. Like I said, I posted the reel of the brotherly shove and Micah Parsons taking a ride. And there's this commenter during the whole thing about how it's an illegal play and the Eagles aren't going to the Super Bowl. And I can't believe you're celebrating this play. And I said, what, we don't, he was upset that we were celebrating a win. And I was like, well, don't you celebrate wins when there's a win? Like I do, I celebrate when there's a loss. I don't celebrate when there's a loss. So I want to celebrate when there's a win. There's no It's black and white. You win, you celebrate. You lose, you commiserate. And so he said, I asked him, so what team are you following? Like if you're in this group chat, like talking down on the brotherly shove, what team do you follow? And he goes, the world is my team. The world is your team.
You were getting trolled, Mike.
I'm like, why are you in this? Why are you in this chat here? Why? So
he's trolling you. He's there to troll.
Exactly.
Yeah, this guy goes. He what else he said here? His name is or their name is at Tax H Kelper, KEHPER. He's officially a crumb bum. He's a crumb bum in our commenting section.
All right, crumb.
And we're gonna have like a little thing on Instagram where it's gonna be a section for crumb bum commenters. So look out. You want to be a commenter, you can make it to that section.
That's gonna be great.
And it's like these guys, they come out of nowhere. The trolling is ridiculous. The trolling of Eagles fans and the fact that we beat the Cowboys and celebrating that we beat the Cowboys. People can't handle it. People can't handle the Eagles being 8-1 and Philly fans being obnoxious as we are. Can't handle it.
Yeah. We are a bit obnoxious, but I love it.
We can be.
But again, you know what though? Guess what? There's only one team in the league that's 8-1.
Exactly.
It's also there's
there's
also one team in the league who's had the best record for 27 straight weeks. And
weird.
That's interesting, isn't it? The best record for 27 weeks. It's pretty good.
I will say, on a side note of good records, how funny is it that the Bengals are on a 4-week win streak and they're still dead last in their division? They really got themselves under the bus.
Now, as a team who is 8-1, who they've beat the Dolphins, they've beaten the Cowboys now, who are supposedly the second or third best team in the league. You would think the Eagles be ranked number 1 in power rankings because of that. ESPN, I'm getting really aggravated with ESPN. Two things what the ESPN has done to me this week is that they ranked the Eagles 7 in overall team in the league. 7.
Kevin Nagandi, what are you doing? Why are you allowing this?
Like, why?
You're an Eagles fan. Why are you allowing
this?
Why?
How does that happen?
Wait, like what ESPN? I'm looking at ESPN's ranking right now. We're ranked number 1.
No, it was recently. It was ranked 7. They ranked them 7. Maybe they changed it, but I saw
this Nation ESPN November 7th has the Eagles ranked number 1.
Okay, wasn't it a couple days ago? It was not. It was 7. I'll look it up for you.
I sent it to
you. Saw it, right? You sent it to me. Okay.
Okay.
Let's see, where is it? So like that's another thing, that the fact that they're ranked 7 is mind-boggling to me.
Yeah,
I like the fact that Kansas City is not 1 or 2 in. Well, they are in ESPN, but they aren't in NFL.
Right.
Baltimore took that from them.
So it's like I want to see the Eagles. Now, another thing that the ESPN has done is they predicted the next 4 games for the Eagles. Like, I don't understand why they would think that's necessary, or we would even think that's an accurate thing. So they have the Eagles playing Kansas City, right? And they think the Eagles are going to lose that game. They have a 61% chance for Kansas City to win that game. The following week, they play the Bills, and they have a 55% chance of the Bills to winning. And then the following week is the Niners. They also predict the Eagles lose that game. And the week after that is the Cowboys, another loss. They think the Eagles are going to lose 4 straight games. Is that
obviously they're not paying attention to Purdy's decline over there in San Francisco. He's not the golden boy anymore, right?
No, not at all.
Buffalo's quickly falling apart. They shouldn't. I don't even see them as a threat anymore. I feel like that's going to be one of the easier games for us.
Agreed.
Yeah, and how dare you think that Jalen doesn't have, or even the whole whoever was there from last year from the Super Bowl doesn't have some type of revenge on their mind for this Kansas City game. We're playing in Kansas City. They're gonna want their revenge for that loss.
Monday Night Football.
I know Bradbury's probably gonna play his heart out because he's probably going to make up for what happened in the Super Bowl. You
100%.
know what I mean? So I'm sure that these guys are going to be pumped up for these next couple games. And then Dallas, we just beat Dallas. So
I got a bit of a different projection for you boys because I'm I'm looking at this with the energy levels. All right, we're getting a week off. All right. And then you're right. We go into Kansas City. I'm 100% agreeing with you guys. I think we're going in there with, an anger, a hatred, just a passion of revenge. I think we definitely win that Monday night against the Chiefs, although I could be wrong. I feel like there's probably some stat about Pat Mahomes and Monday night or something like that. And
I'm sure we'll see it.
I'm sure.
Well, the whole Andy Reid after a bye is
there's a whole thing about Andy Reid coming off a bye, playing in Europe with 5 hours rest, stuff like that.
Yeah. I will say, even with the Bills looking kind of trash right now, I've gotten to the point now where I think because of that, I think that's a trap game. Because the following week's the Niners, and I think I've got more animosity towards the Niners right now than I do towards Dallas or the Chiefs the rest of the season. I still can't stand the Niners. I'm so sick of the Niners, even though they've lost 3 straight. I'm so sick of the Niners.
The Bills are after Kansas City.
That's why I know. That's what I'm saying. It's going to be Kansas City. Then we're going to have a trap game with the Bills. Because we're coming down off the energy of the Chiefs, getting ourselves psyched up about the Niners. I think the Bills are the trap game. I think we win the Chiefs. I think we shock ourselves and lose the Bills, or we win it real close. Right. I think we beat the shit out of the Niners. I still think we might lose in Dallas because that's what happens. Yeah. And then, the rest of the season, I swear, if we lose to the Seahawks or if we lose to the Cardinals or Giants,
when we made our predictions, we had the Giants' last game of the season is a loss, but the way the Giants are playing, I don't think they can fight their way out of it.
I will say, I'm shocked. Like, am I just? I don't know what happened. Like, I understand they're a rival of ours. We don't like them, but last year, us, the Cowboys and Giants, all made the playoffs. Yeah. The Commanders even looked pretty good. The start of this season, the Commanders start looking good. Right now, the Giants and Commanders literally look like they're in the dark, just fighting each other. Like
the way you're sitting.
What are you guys doing? Yeah, exactly. Like I'm in the dark. Like I have more light.
Schedule, man.
I have more light seeing that.
They had an easy schedule last year.
Yeah,
easy schedule or not, you don't go from being a playoff team to
they just
not having a win.
Apparently, the
schedule's not even that hard.
Apparently, you can make the playoffs and be terrible the next year. It happens. Look at the Rams.
The Jets would be the better team in New York this year
without Aaron Rodgers.
Like the Raiders aren't good. You lost to the Raiders. You lost to the Jets.
The Raiders beat the Giants because the Raiders felt free of Josh McDaniels, and they were able to.
Devontae Adams still sucks.
Yeah, and they came out and they were. I think the Giants scored 6 points. That's it. Their quarterback room is 2 rookies and Matt Barkley. Like that's their quarterback room right now.
Shout out to my coworker Kevin who called it that they were gonna drop a 30 burger on the fucking Giants. He called
crazy,
it,
man.
He called it after them averaging just less than 20 points a game. He knew as soon as they fired McDaniels, he's like, we're gonna drop 30 on the Giants.
They did.
And it's exactly what they did.
Yeah, they blew up. They just went crazy. Yeah. They went crazy. I'm watching Thursday Night Football here, and they have Jason Kelce on. Why is Jason Kelce in Chicago right now? Does anybody know?
Yeah. He's there he's there because Amazon brought the documentary, so he has to do
like a promo thing.
Yeah. He talked about it on the podcast this week.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So the Eagles are 8-1. I think the best team in football, and there's room for improvement. Really quick,
100%.
Really quick. There's a little talk about Ron Gronkowski being pulled out of retirement to play for 4 games. Is that reality? Is that a reality thing? Is that actually going to?
I felt like we talked about this at the beginning of the year.
Was it
last year or the beginning of the year?
I think it was last year when Dallas Goedert went down after that Commanders game. We talked about it.
And you know what though? Like, so someone did talk to Gronk prior to this, and he did say a long time ago, it feels like he's done, but he enjoyed it. And if he did come back, it would have to be for a team that's competing. He's not coming in if he's not competing.
Right.
You can't get much. Who?
Dable. Like he said,
he did say something about playing for New York. I remember that.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, if there's another team out there that's more of a chance to be competing for at least the conference championship.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to, like, whether or not you like us, whether or not you like the way we've won our games, wins are wins. I've said it before, like, yeah, we're winning ugly, but we're winning.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
We've got players who are undefeated. Jalen Carter is undefeated as an Eagle. He didn't play the game we lost.
Right. That's a shame.
We got guys who are here. They're here to win games. I know it hasn't been going great. We've had some rough games. But you got to think if you're a star player like that who's like maybe one more time, you're looking. I mean, because who else you're looking at? I mean, the Kansas City's already got Kelsey.
Mm-hmm.
San Fran's already got Kittle. Mark Andrews is there at the Ravens. I will say, what a shock though that the top teams all have star tight ends.
Go figure, crazy, right? Mm-hmm.
I know. Well, it's like those years ago, back before what's his face got Hernandez went into jail. I mean, they had two really good tight ends there in New England.
Well, how much we hate Dallas. How many years did Dallas have continuously a great tight end? It was for years and years and years.
Moose.
Yeah, that's a thing. So
yeah. Cardinals. Give me back Zach Ertz. Cut him.
Yeah, that's Zach Ertz. He's sitting on the sidelines. He's not playing.
Yeah.
And so that's a possibility. Howie's got to make some sort of waiver wire play.
What's Brent Selleck doing nowadays?
They can always bring back Brent Selleck. He's that guy's a beast. He could
LJ Smith? No.
LJ Smith. Imagine LJ.
You know
Smith.
what? Line Julio up as a tight end.
That's what I heard about that. Put Julio as tight end. Yes.
I mean, he's got the speed, he's got the hands, he's big enough. He could probably throw some blocks.
Let's throw Jason Mailata out there at TE.
Yeah, I've always wanted to see him run.
Who's going to block on left tackle then?
Yeah, I've always wanted to see him run with the ball. You ever see him like as a rugby player run with the ball?
I remember talking to you about him prior to the draft.
Yeah,
I was like, bro, this kid, he's probably not getting drafted, but I want him. And then we drafted him, and I was like,
oh as a running. I want to see him as a running back.
At this point, he's too important, man. He solidified himself as too good of a left tackle.
Yeah, I know. The league's best left tackle, I'd say. Or one of them.
Fullback.
Right?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Before we leave, we want to do our one word for the Dallas game. We didn't do Washington last week, so we'll have to make that another time. But Dallas, we have to go over our one word. How happy we are to win that game. My one word for that Dallas game is inches, because if it was a few more inches to the left, we probably would have lost that game. A few inches to the right would have won that game. So
just the tip.
I'm gonna say inches on that one.
Mark, you got one ready? Because I don't.
Nope. All right. Well, I can then.
All right.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and have my one word be shove.
Yeah.
The brotherly shove comes out and does its job on the team who seems to hate it the most. We got a little surfer boy with the resident Philadelphian and Micah Parsons, who can't seem to get enough of this city, even though he seems to hate it so much. We did what we needed to. It wasn't pretty, but you know what? We're getting the wins. The shove was a key play for us right there, and a few different times this game. And I think moving forward, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see us get to a point where we're like, look, we're up by 21. Maybe we don't need a brotherly shove from our own 20. It is what it is. It did its job, and we did our job, and we're letting a little week to relax. And I say that saying like that's for the team. Us as fans are just gonna hate ourselves because this week sucks,
right?
But that's what it is. Go Birds.
There it is. Miguel?
I'm gonna go with how I feel at this point at 8-1. Surprised. The way we played, as like I said earlier, we found ways to win. We've been fortunate on some plays to come out on top. So yeah, just overall season is just shocking to me the way that we, as bad as we played, and we haven't looked good at all. I'm surprised that we're 8-1. So yeah, surprised.
Okay. I like, surprise is good. Surprise is good.
Sure.
Question for you both, real quick.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We are at a point now where the rest of the schedule, we have the hardest schedule left in the NFL,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Prior to the season, Vegas odds makers gave us 10.5 over under for wins. We're at 8-1 now.
Mm-hmm.
You guys taking the over?
Yes.
Or you taking the under?
100%. 100%.
Yeah, taking the over.
We're definitely
taking the over.
making more than 10 wins. That's
Yeah.
for damn sure.
I actually have conversations saved of family members and friends who said I was insane saying we would get 11 or 12 wins this season.
Really?
I'm not saying we will, but I'm just saying I think we will.
Beginning of the season, we predicted 14 wins. We're still right on pace.
I remember saying, I remember one of my family members, when I mentioned that, they said, if you think we're going to get 12 or more wins, you're out of your mind with the team we have this year.
I think we're going to get more than 10 wins for sure. For sure.
I agree.
Definitely.
I think we got 3 easy wins at the end of the season with two with Giants and one with the Cardinals. That's going to be easy right there.
Yeah.
Easy money.
All I'm saying is that Christmas Day better be a hell of a Christmas present. I want that to be a nice win.
Yeah.
I want that to be a division locking win.
I want a shutout.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That would be really cool.
That would be a nice little present. I'll put that in my stocking.
Before we exit the podcast, I want to just let everybody know that we have a few affiliates coming onto the podcast coming right now, and one of them is IYKYK. So it's like, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. They're a site that sells T-shirts with famous quotes from movies, sports movies, based on football, baseball, basketball, whatever. And if you follow them, you find them on Instagram at IYKYK quote tees. And if you find anything over there, use our promo code SQUAWK10 to get 10% off. So head on over there and check them out. They got some really fun T-shirts over there.
For those slow spellers like me, Mike, how do you spell squawking or
Squawk 10? SQUAWK number 10.
Okay, thank you.
So you can that's one of our affiliates. You can check them out online. And then also, if you want to, we're going to be on the Lockerverse app. So if you want to download Lockerverse, it'll be in the comments section below. It's an app that's been founded by LeBron James's wife. CJ Stroud is an owner of this app, and they have asked us to come on and start their Eagles channel on their website, on their app. So
Awesome.
you can go over there and watch our podcast live. I guess not live, but the link to it, and comment and have like a whole discussion about what we're talking about right now. So you can find that over there on the Lockerverse app. You can just download that. Again, it will be in the comments. And I think that'll be it for right now. So if you want to, we're the first ones to start the channel for them. So if you can go over there and start downloading that app, that's awesome.
Breaking barriers. Here we are.
Breaking barriers. So yeah, we're growing. We've hit 8,800 followers on Instagram this past week.
You're not 1,000 yet.
We're almost there. Like, this week has been
there.
quite a huge growth because of the Dallas reels I've been making. So we've been getting a lot of people with that. So if you're new to the podcast, because you're new listeners followers on Instagram, welcome. Thank you for listening. That'll do it for us. Next week we have a Kansas City Chiefs fan going to come on and talk with us. We haven't talked to a Kansas City Chiefs fan, so it's going to be interesting to see.
It's not a Taylor Swift fan that just turned to a Kansas City fan,
we'll have to ask him. But the funny thing, I've known him for a long time, and he's always been a Chiefs fan. He's a Chiefs fan and a Royals fan. And I've always asked him, like, why are you a Chiefs fan? And he goes, what?
Is it Sharad Nayak?
It is.
Oh,
yes. Yes. Yes.
Haven't seen him since the lunch table in 7th grade.
Right? So he's going to be on the podcast next week. It's going to be fun to talk to him. I haven't really talked to him in a long time.
Yeah.
But I thought I'd reach out to him and see if he wanted to come on. And he said yes. So we're going to have him come on.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, so that'll be next week's our next week's podcast, and that'll do it for the bye week podcast.
Fun times.
Good times, guys. Thank you.
You guys know how we do. EAGLES Eagles.
Eagles.
Go Birds. Mike, hit that music.